The moment they arrived, the Airbnb felt like a dream of charming. Centuries-old cottage nestled deep in the woods, far from the noisy hum of the city. The listing had promised tranquility, rustic charm, and the perfect escape from their chaotic lives. Outside, the trees whispered secrets in the wind, and the distant sound of a creek added a soothing soundtrack to their arrival. The kind of quiet that sinks deep into your bones, making you hyper-aware of every creak and groan the old house offered. As Emma lay awake in bed, she swore she could hear faint footsteps echoing down the hallway. But when she sat up, the house was empty, just the two of them, or so they thought. Mark was skeptical, but curiosity gnawed at both of them. Armed with flashlights and a mix of excitement and apprehension, they decided to explore. Confused and unnerved, Emma and Mark realized this was another home entirely, hidden beneath the floorboards of the cottage above. But why? Who lived here? The narrow passage swallowed their light, the air turning damp and cold as they descended into the unknown. Emma's breath caught. The walls seemed to close in, and panic surged as the sounds grew louder. Mark brushed off her unease with a laugh, but Emma's mind raced with unease she couldn't shake. Mark's grip tightened on Emma's arm. Was this an elaborate prank? Or something far darker? It was a hidden world, existing parallel to their own one that should have remained buried. Then came the whispers, barely audible, but unmistakably their names. Mark whispered, "We need to leave," but Emma felt rooted, as if invisible hands were pulling her deeper into the darkness. The basement lights flickered erratically, casting long, twisting shadows that danced with every heartbeat. We shouldn't have come here. The house, the tunnel, the hidden family, they were all entwined in a terrifying secret waiting to be uncovered. The basement was no longer just a room, but a labyrinthine prison, the air thick with an oppressive weight. A cold, unnatural stillness fell over the space, as if the very air held its breath. Shadows flickered just beyond their vision, shapes twisting and contorting in the dark, reminding them that they were not alone. Every step echoed like a death knell as they hurried back toward the tunnel's entrance, only to find the floorboard they had lifted was gone sealed tight as if the house itself had swallowed it whole. She remembered the faded photographs, the missing, the forgotten, forever lost to the earth below. And now, Emma and Mark were trapped in the middle. Emma. The voices seemed to drift through the walls, impossible and surreal. It twisted reality, creating illusions to keep its victims close, dragging them into eternal darkness. Emma and Mark were now part of that story, a new chapter in the house's gruesome legacy. The house seemed to sigh, settling into an ominous silence. Everything seemed perfect, almost too perfect. The secret tunnel might be sealed, but its darkness lingered, promising that some doors, once opened, never truly close. The tunnel's entrance reopened, but the air outside felt colder, heavier, as if stepping back into the world meant leaving behind more than just the basement. Stay with us, don't leave. The house itself had become a cage, a living entity feeding off their fear, their confusion. The muffled voices continued soft, intimate, chilling. They weren't alone. Someone else was living down here, watching, waiting. Her curiosity piqued, she pried it open and found a narrow opening, a dark, cramped tunnel leading downwards into pitch black. And if they didn't find a way out soon, they too would be swallowed by the darkness, forgotten, trapped, and lost forever. Photos on a dusty table revealed smiling faces, but the dates told a grim story: disappearances spanning decades, families who vanished without a trace. Its brittle pages revealed a harrowing tale decades ago. A desperate family had built the tunnel to escape a sinister presence that haunted the woods above. But the passage became their prison, trapping them beneath the house, cut off from the outside world. Questions flooded her mind, and an inexplicable dread began to creep into the edges of their idyllic getaway. Emma and Mark, desperate for a break, felt a flicker of hope flicker inside them as they pushed open the creaking wooden door and stepped inside. The house smelled faintly of pine and old wood, sunlight streaming through lace curtains, casting delicate patterns on the worn hardwood floors. Faint scratches and old, peeling paint suggested it hadn't been used in decades, yet it was eerily preserved, too intact to be forgotten for so long. The whispers grew urgent, desperate, pleading for release. The tunnel wasn't just a passage, it was a prison, a gateway to something far darker. Suddenly, a faint light flickered ahead. They quickened their pace, hearts pounding, and emerged into a dimly lit basement that didn't belong to their Airbnb. Their first night was quiet. The next morning, while exploring the property, Emma stumbled upon a loose floorboard beneath the faded rug in the living room. A cold shiver ran down her spine. What was this? Who would build a secret passage under a vacation home in the middle of nowhere? That afternoon, Emma couldn't stop thinking about the tunnel. The tunnel twisted and turned, the walls closing in with every step. The room was furnished, cluttered with family photos and everyday objects, a strange domestic scene beneath the earth. As they ventured further, voices echoed softly from the far end of the basement, soft murmurs and laughter, as if a family was living their lives in secret below the surface. A door creaked open at the far side, revealing shadowy figures moving behind frosted glass. With every passing second, the realization settled in. This wasn't just a secret tunnel. The air hung thick with tension as Emma and Mark stood frozen, eyes locked on the shadowy figures behind the frosted glass. Emma's skin prickled with unease. She tried to peer closer, but the glass fogged, distorting the shapes beyond. Panic wrestled with curiosity. Suddenly, a chilling realization hit them. This hidden family wasn't just living beneath the house. They were trapped in a limbo, caught between worlds. Emma's breath hitched as a cold breeze brushed past them, carrying the faint scent of lavender and decay. Fear clamped down on Mark's voice, but it was too late. The walls seemed to pulse, alive with a sinister force. The walls seemed to close in tighter as Emma and Mark's panic escalated. Mark pounded at the walls, desperate to break through, but the silence that followed was deafening. Emma's mind raced as she pieced together the horrific truth. This tunnel was a prison designed to trap those who uncovered its secret, binding them to the hidden family beneath the floorboards. Their voices returned low and mournful, echoing through the walls like a haunting lullaby. A sudden coldness seeped into Emma's bones as she realized the voices weren't asking. They were commanding. With nowhere left to run, Emma and Mark faced the grim reality. The line between their world and the shadowy realm beneath the house was dissolving. In the fading light, Emma's eyes caught an old journal wedged between loose bricks in the basement's far corner. The journal's last entry was a chilling warning. The house itself was alive, a malevolent force feeding on the trapped souls it ensnared. Suddenly, the walls trembled, and a deep, guttural growl echoed through the floorboards. With a desperate burst of strength, they scrambled through the passage, emerging into the living room just as the floorboards slammed shut behind them. But as Emma looked back, a shadow flickered beneath the floorboards, watching, waiting. Their vacation had ended not with peace, but with a haunting reminder. Some homes hide horrors no traveler should ever find.